Hello students, if we want light in our life, then we need to stand where it is shining. With this positive reality, let us start our today's class. In last class, we have discussed about intrinsic semiconductors, and in intrinsic semiconductors, the conductivity depends mainly on temperature. As temperature increases, its conductivity increases, and the charge carriers in intrinsic semiconductors are free electrons and holes. Now, at room temperature, the conductivity of intrinsic semiconductor is low. We want our products which contain semiconductor devices must work in room temperature also. So, it is need to increase its conductivity. One method of increasing the conductivity of this pure semiconductor is by adding impurities. Now here impurities means not the dust particles and something else what we bring and just put on it. Impurities means here the other atoms of other elements must be mixed with this pure semiconducting materials. Now here intrinsic semiconductor, example silicon or germanium, I have the lattice structure of intrinsic semiconductor material. Already in the last class we have discussed about it, how the valence electrons bonding takes place and how the electron pairing takes place. Now when I add impurity to this, and before that the process of adding impurity to this semiconductor, intrinsic semiconductor, is called doping. Let note down it, students. Now here our topic, today's topic is extrinsic semiconductors. Another name for extrinsic semiconductor, impurity semiconductors or doped semiconductors. Here extrinsic semiconductor is got by adding impurity to pure semiconductors. Here impurity means atoms of different elements, and the process of adding this impurity, this process of adding impurity to the pure semiconductor is called as doping, and the impurity what we are adding, that impurity is called as dopants. Hope so students, it is clear what is doping. The process of adding impurities to the pure semiconducting material is called doping, and the impurities what we are selecting of our choice so that to increase the conductivity, that impurities are called as dopants. Now while selecting these dopants, two conditions are important. When you select the dopant and when you add this impurity to the pure semiconductor, the crystal lattice structure should not be distorted, and the dopant's size, the atom size, must be nearly same of that of size of the atoms of our intrinsic semiconducting materials. So these two conditions are important here. Now the dopants are of two types. Pentavalent dopants and trivalent dopants. Now the pure semiconductors, here silicon or germanium are tetravalent. Now when we are adding pentavalent dopant to it, then the resultant semiconductor what we get is called as N-type semiconductor, and when we add trivalent impurity, the resultant semiconductor what we get is called P-type semiconductor. examples of pentavalent impurities are arsenic, antimony, phosphorus, bismuth, etc. Examples for trivalent impurity are boron, aluminium, indium, etc. Now let us take the example of adding pentavalent impurity. Now I have here pure semiconducting material. Now in this diagram we have 9 atoms. When I add one impurity atom, say one pentavalent atom, let me take the example of phosphorus. Now phosphorus is represented by, let me represent it, it is a pentavalent, so let me write it here, +5, and there are 5 valence electrons in the outermost orbit. Now when I add this phosphorus atom to this silicon crystal, according to the condition, this should not go and fix somewhere else or penetrate somewhere else and get entangled there. Instead, it will take the position of one of the silicon atom. Now let it take the position of this atom. So this atom gets shifted this side, this one gets shifted this side, and here now I have our impurity pentavalent dopant atom. Now this has 5 valence electron. One of the valence electron will participate in covalent bond here, second one, third one, and fourth one. All the 4 electrons will participate in covalent bond formation, and one electron which is weakly bounded don't have any covalent bond formation. So here students, what we understood from this, for every one impurity atom added, we have one extra electron available for conduction. But remember here, the total system, the number of electrons here compared to intrinsic semiconductor, number of electrons is more, but the total system has charge. What is the charge of the total system? Here you can see in number of electron is more, so is it negative charge? No, it is not negative charge. The charge of the total system is always 0, because here this semiconducting atom, total number of protons, electrons is 0. We have studied in our lower class, atom is electrically neutral. Each atoms are electrically neutral, so total charge is 0. Even though we have added this phosphorus atom, its net charge is 0. So net charge of the system will remain always 0, whatever impurity we add it. Now this type of semiconductor, on adding impurity, what happens? Number of electrons available for conduction increases. Here, if temperature increases, electron hole pairs are created. So number of holes will be equal to number of electrons due to the effect of temperature. But due to the effect of our doping concentration, now here I had taken the example of one atom, but in one small unit area, millions and millions of atoms will be there. So many number of electrons are available for conduction, and that number is much more compared to the numbers produced due to the increase in temperature. So the conductivity do not change that much based on temperature. It is independent of temperature, I can say. The conductivity mainly depends on the doping concentration here. And this type of semiconductor is called as N-type semiconductor. And let me draw the energy band diagram. Now in this energy band diagram, I have valence band and I have conduction band. in valence band there are so many energy levels. Even in conduction band there are so many energy levels. Now in valence band there are valence electrons. At very low temperature or 0 Kelvin it is completely filled. As temperature increases, few of the covalent bond breaks up and electrons will go to the conduction band. Let me select this electron. Now jump to conduction band. Now what has been created here? A hole is created, a vacancy is created in the place of the electron. Like that, let me take the example of this one. This electron went here. Again here one hole is created. This electron occupied the place there. So a hole is. So here based on temperature, number of holes is equal to number of electrons. But based on doping concentration, now for each one atom we have one electron, and the energy level of this weakly bound electron will be somewhere near to the conduction band. This line represents, so let me represent this much portion as energy of valence band, this much portion as energy of conduction band. Then this line represents the energy of the dopant atoms electrons, which is available for conduction. Now every one atom donates one electron, so this impurity is called as donor impurity. So this energy level I can call it as energy level of donor. Let me represent it as ED. And these electrons which are weakly bound, they take their place in this level, and the gap, this gap between this conduction band region and donor level, this is very small. This energy gap is very small, of order 0.01 electron volt, very small energy. So easily these electrons can jump to conduction band and it can make available for the conductivity property. So it is available for conduction. So at any time when you observe this material, what we find is number of electrons required for conduction is very large compared to number of holes. And here the number of electrons, how this number increases? Depending upon the doping concentration plus the electrons which came here by leaving back holes here, that is due to increase in temperature, and the number of holes are only due to increase in temperature. So the contribution of electron in case of conductivity is very large here. Electron number is more than number of holes. So here we can write the majority charge carriers as electron. Electrons are majority charge carriers and minority charge carriers are holes. And conductivity is mainly because of the electrons, and the temperature is not appreciable here. Next, let us study when trivalent impurity is added, what will happen. So here when pentavalent impurity is added, number of electrons will be greater than number of holes, and this impurity is having a special name called as donor impurity. Pentavalent impurity is donor impurity because each dopant atom donates 1 electron for conduction. The trivalent impurity, example, let me take aluminium. Here, if I draw an aluminium atom having 3 valence electrons, earlier in intrinsic semiconductor all are tetravalent. Now when I add this impurity, aluminium atom, the dopant atom, to this intrinsic semiconductor, this atom should go and take any one place of the atom, and this atom gets shifted. So let this atom, aluminium atom, take the place of this one. Now here I have trivalent impurity atom, it has taken. So this trivalent impurity atom has 3 valence electron and it is participating in the bond formation. Now in this bond here there is no electron in this position. So where the vacancy of the electron is nothing but hole. So a hole is produced in this 4th covalent bond region. So every trivalent impurity produces hole. And what is the property of this hole? This hole is an effective positive charge. So when one of the electrons, say this or this electron, when this electron, after it completes its orbit in its own atom, due to the agreement between this neighborhood good friendship bond is created, it has underwent agreement. So when this electron comes to take round for this atom's orbit, this electron will go here. When this electron is going round the orbit, it comes across this hole, and this hole will attract that electron and the electron will take its seat there. This electron will come and take the seat here, and now no more hole is here. Instead, the hole is shifted here. This electron already now took its place here. Here again hole is created. Now what we can tell? This hole, original hole was here. This hole has been shifted to this position, the position of hole moved from site 1 to site 2. Every one dopant atom will produce hole here, and that hole has the capacity to accept the electron. What this hole has done? It accepted the electron which was here. Every hole has the capacity to accept the electron. So the impurity, trivalent impurity, is also called as acceptor impurity. Each hole has capacity to accept one electron. Now let me draw the energy band in this case, and let us study the properties of this semiconductor. And this type of semiconductor on which we get by doping this trivalent impurity is called as p-type semiconductor. Now in case of p-type semiconductor, let me draw the energy band diagram. In y-axis we take energy, which is represented in terms of electron volt. We have valence band, we have conduction band. This portion represents energy of conduction band, this portion represents energy of valence band. Now in valence band we have energy levels, in conduction band also we have energy levels. At room temperature, few of the valence electrons gained energy. Here earlier there are valence electrons. Few of the electrons gains energy and comes to conduction band. And here what is produced? Holes are left behind. Now the energy level of this hole position will be very near to the valence band. This line represents the energy of acceptor, that is that hole. Now here we are having holes at and this energy value is very small, around 0.01 electron volt. Since this energy value is very small, electrons which are available here, which are present here in the valence band, easily can jump to this energy level, energy of this acceptor level, and this electron comes here, and what is produced there in its position? Hole. One more electron will go and sit there, hole is produced, one more. So what happens? When you see this, number of holes is more compared to number of electrons for conduction. So in p-type semiconductor, conductivity is mainly because of holes. I can write number of holes in p-type semiconductor is greater than number of electrons. Using this concept, I can identify which are majority charge carriers. Majority charge carriers here are holes. Minority charge carriers here are electrons. And the basic difference, this is the basic difference between n-type and p-type semiconductor. N-type is doped with pentavalent impurity, p-type is doped with trivalent impurity. Majority charge carriers are electrons in n-type. Here majority charge carriers are holes. So electrons contribute much for conduction. Here holes contribute much for conduction. These are the basic differences and the energy level diagram in case of n-type and p-type semiconductor. In case of intrinsic semiconductor, we have number of holes and number of electrons were equal, and we had written the equation number of holes into number of electrons is equal to Ni square, and this equation holds good to both intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor, and using this equation we can calculate the number of conducting electrons or doping concentration. Based on that we can do certain calculations, and it is required for our creation of semiconductor devices. So students, please note down this. Students, let me remind you, here whatever may be the type of impurities or dopant atoms, either in case of n-type, in n-type majority charge carriers are electrons, in p-type majority charge carriers are holes. But the net charge of the n-type system, or it may be p-type system, the net charge in n-type it is not the negative charge, or in p-type it is not the positive charge. This is the basic confusion what takes place. The net charge of the system, either it can be intrinsic or it can be extrinsic semiconductor, the total charge is always 0. Since atom is electrically neutral, total charge is 0. But based on conductivity, in n-type electrons contribute to conductivity, in p-type holes contribute to conduction. Now let us take down the difference between intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor, and next difference between p-type and n-type. So note down, students, be ready to write this. The first basic difference, that is the definition of intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor, it is the purest form of semiconductor, or it is the pure semiconductor. It is semiconductor doped with impurities. When impurities are added to pure semiconductor, we get extrinsic semiconductor. Here, the number of electrons is equal to number of holes. Intrinsic semiconductor contains the same number of holes and electrons. Here, the number of holes is not equal to number of electrons. In case of N-type semiconductor, number of electrons is more. In case of P-type semiconductor, number of holes are more. In intrinsic semiconductor, since the conductivity depends mainly on temperature, so both holes and electrons take part in conduction. Or conduction is due to both holes and electrons. Here, majority charge carriers take part in conduction. For N-type, it is electrons, majority charge carriers, and for P-type, again it is holes. Conductivity mainly depends only on the effect of temperature. Here, conductivity, in case of extrinsic semiconductor, conductivity depends on doping concentration. And temperature is not appreciable, or conductivity is independent of temperature, I can tell. So, note down all these differences. It is an important question. Write the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor, students. So, and also by now, whatever important questions are there for 1 mark and 2 mark, let me tell you. First is, what is intrinsic semiconductor? Draw its lattice diagram or structure. What is extrinsic semiconductor? What is doping? What are dopants? How many types of dopants are there? Draw with the diagram, explain the conductivity of N-type semiconductor. You have to draw that lattice diagram, and also better draw the band structure if it is asked, energy band diagram, and then you have to explain that concept. Like that only, explain the conductivity of P-type semiconductor based on lattice structure. So these all are the concepts related to p-type, n-type, extrinsic, intrinsic semiconductors. And one more difference, write the difference between p-type and n-type semiconductor. So students, you can note down. Difference between n-type and p-type semiconductors. N-type semiconductor, it is doped with pentavalent impurity. Here in p-type, it is doped with trivalent impurity. In n-type, number of electrons are more than number of holes. So I can write the same concept here. The another difference, electrons are majority charge carriers, and holes are minority charge carriers. The conductivity is mainly due to electrons. Like that only. Let me complete this. Here number of electrons are more than number of holes. Number of holes in p-type are more than number of electrons. In this, electrons are majority charge carriers in n-type. In p-type, holes are majority charge carriers. Electrons are minority charge carriers. In n-type, conductivity is mainly because of electron, because N is greater than NH, and electrons are majority charge carrier. In this case, conductivity is mainly due to movement of holes. So note down this, students, the important question for 3 marks. Difference between intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor, difference between n-type and p-type semiconducting material. Note down it. I think you have noted down, you have written it, students. Now you have studied by now the different types of extrinsic semiconductor, N-type, P-type, how we can increase the conductivity at room temperature by our own wish. Here the dopant impurities we are selecting either pentavalent or trivalent of our wish, and also the quantity also we are selecting depending upon the doping concentration. And now we have prepared N-type semiconductor and P-type semiconductor. We have understood its difference also. Now in our day-to-day life, what products we are using which contain semiconducting devices, that device are not only of P-type or not only of N-type. It contains both P and N-type in single wafer or in a single crystal. Now how to get that P and N-type both together in single crystal? Suppose I have one P-type semiconducting material and one N-type semiconducting material. Now in all our semiconducting devices, the best example is diode, which is nothing but a PN junction. PN junction contains both P-type and N-type. It is a mixture of P and N-type. A P-type is sandwiched with N-type. Now if I take this P-type and N-type and if I join it like this, just if I hold this by some magical things, it won't join. We require certain third thing, adhesive or something to join it. But when I apply adhesive, again another foreign atom come and becomes the part of this wafer. In this wafer, it must be only the dopant atoms and the pure semiconducting material atoms. So how to do that? By taking separate P-type and separate N-type, we can't have that PN junction or simple semiconductor diode. For that sake, we have one single P-type semiconducting material, and from one side we are adding dopants such that this becomes N-type. As a result, P and N types are there and a metallurgical junction is produced in between. I have a P-type. Now first I have a single wafer of P-type semiconductor, and from one side I have doped, I have added impurities so that this side becomes, earlier this is P-type, this side becomes N-type. Now what happens, this much portion will remain P-type and this much portion will become N-type, and a metallurgical junction is produced, and hence this is called PN junction. In P-type, what are the majority charge carriers? Yes, majority charge carriers are holes. So holes are majority charge carriers available for conduction. Are there electrons in it? Yes, electrons are present as minority charge carriers. Their number is very less compared to holes. Now in N-type, majority charge carriers are electrons. What are minority charge carriers? Holes. Here and there, few holes are there. Now as soon as this wafer is prepared, at the junction, here there are electrons at this portion, right side, since it is N-type, electrons are available here, and in left side, holes are available here. Now at the junction, electrons are here, holes are here. Now this electron is a negative charge, hole has effective positive charge. What is hole? It is ready to accept an electron. This hole accepts this electron, so this electron is attracted towards this hole. This electron also gets attracted, all the electron comes here. From here the electron shifts. So electrons which are majority charge carriers in N-type shifts to which side? Shifts from N to P side. And the holes, now when electron came here, it took up the site of the hole. So where the hole will go? It will take the site of this electron, so holes get shifted from p to n side. So this diffusion of electron takes place, and this diffusion creates current called diffusion current. So when diffusion current takes place here, after electron has left here, earlier this electron was the property of one atom, electron went out, so here what we have now, positively charged immobile ion. So positive space charge region is generated here, and here a negative space charge region is generated, and this takes place until this diffusion current and another type of current, drift current. Because of this space charge region, electric field is generated here, and because of that effect of electric field, minority charge carriers from p and n type start moving, and the movement of minority charge carriers creates drift current. When diffusion current and drift current both takes place, and under equilibrium both comes out to be at one level. As a result, our p-n junction is ready. So students, we will wind up here. We will continue this in our next class. Thank you.